Hey, Miss Deborah.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Let me see if I can. Oh, there you are. I heard you. I just couldn't see you. Oh, goodness.
Sorry, I'm in my car at practice. Sorry.
Well, that's all right. I appreciate you dropping in. Like I said, it may not be anybody. If it is, that's all right. We'll go home.
Okay, that's right. How you
How are
been
things?
doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Busy, hopping all around the place. Busy. Macy is ready for school to be out. We got one more volleyball practice. She is ready for it all to be over.
I bet. But what about this summer? What she got planned for the summer?
So her and Emery go to Luther Ridge the very first week of June.
Okay.
Yeah, because they get out of school real early this year. They get out like
Yeah.
the Thursday before Memorial Day. So they're going that first weekend. Well, she's got volley. Well, hold on, back up. We go to the beach Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
Then she has the volleyball camp. Then she'll go to Luther Ridge. Then we have Bible school. And then, and then really out of other than that, she's got volleyball conditioning. So because she'll be able to try out for the middle school team this year.
Okay.
So that's kind of it. We didn't plan, we go to the beach for a week, but we tried to keep her not as busy as we have in the past, just so she can kind of relax a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they need that time. So
Well,
good.
her and Emery are ready to go to Luther Ridge. They
Oh,
are
good.
already talking about what they're packing.
That's so good. I knew once they got over that hurdle of being scared to go, they would have a great time.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I hope they'll be able to go for till they graduate, but we'll see how
Yeah.
schedules go. But
Well,
I know
true.
they'll want to go. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Leanne's going in. Leanne will be finishing up the 10th grade, and she's still going.
Yep.
Abby McAbee's still going.
Yep.
So I miss it. I wish I could still go, but oh
You
gosh,
can't volunteer.
huh?
You can't volunteer.
I probably could. Well, as it turns out, the bishop's got me traveling this summer. I'm going to Western Alabama University
Okay.
in June, and
Oh,
then 2 weeks, yeah, no, 2 weeks later, I'm going to Roanoke University in Virginia for some
okay,
youth
Miss Deborah. Okay.
for, for some youth events. So then the rest of the summer, I kind of got it easy.
You should come to Lexington, South Carolina for some youth events too.
Yeah. Oh
Well, we
goodness.
miss you lots for sure.
Well, I miss y'all. Every time I drive by there, it's like, oh,
That's
I
okay. You need your
wonder what's
time
going
too.
on. Or a lot of times it's, oh, I wonder what's going on tonight. Wonder what's going
What are
on.
we doing? Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we got somebody. So anyway, it's this week's been hard. This is the anniversary of Daddy's death, and so this has been a hard week. But other than that, Steve's been retired 2 weeks now, and he they called him back to work today. So apparently we can't stay retired in this house. I can't hear you. You're muted.
I said now you can work because you want to, not because you have to.
True. Very true. Very true. Hi, Debbie.
Now, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good. Okay.
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
All right. Well, let me look. I am using my iPad. I usually use my computer. So let me find the right toolbar.
There you are.
There you
are.
go. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there we go.
I was going to use mine, and I didn't have it on there anymore. So I said, "Oh, let me run upstairs and get on my computer."
Well, this is probably one of the first Zooms I've joined. Well, maybe at least with ELCA. I'm retired also, but it's usually church or family or something. So If I'm missing something, tell me, okay?
Okay. No, I was just telling Amanda, I don't know that we'll have anybody else, but we'll have a little
Well,
discussion if that's,
all right.
and that's okay.
That's okay. That
You
is
know,
okay.
you gotta start somewhere. This is our
Absolutely.
first one.
Absolutely.
We'll see how it goes, and then we'll worry about it later.
Well, it may be like so many things at our church. You know, I still feel like we're getting restarted after COVID, and my goodness, I feel like that's been forever that we're trying to
Get
rev
restarted.
back
Yeah.
up. Yeah. So anyway,
Where are you from?
well, I'm actually in York, South Carolina. We go to Epiphany Lutheran, and
Oh, okay.
we have been members there for 32 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just about as old as the church.
I was gonna say that's about when the church
Yeah, we were not charter.
started.
I think they did the charter that year in September. And David, my husband, and I, our three children, joined in December of 92. It's always easy to remember. Our daughter was 6 weeks old when we moved down here. We have twin boys. They were 4.5. She was 6 weeks old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they were raised there.
I was in a Zoom meeting earlier today with Pastor Ken.
Oh, were you?
So yeah.
Well, he said he might try to get in on this one.
Oh, okay.
Too, so perhaps he'll join at some point.
He may decide he's heard enough of me today.
Well, there, you know, he puts in some long days, so maybe.
Yes, ma'am. I know.
As I think most pastors do. So, yeah.
No, I started this position in March for March 1, and so what I'm trying to do is to go around the state and do some listening sessions and see what the people, our pastors and deacons and youth leaders need, rather than me trying to decide what they need.
Well,
and so I met with the upstate group today.
I see.
And
well, I am a member and long struggling volunteer. I'll put it that way. I'm certainly, I've taught Sunday school is my love. And we're small. We don't have a youth leader. I mean, we have had youth leaders, we've had some great ones, but we certainly not a paid position or anything. So I'm listening for some ideas, perhaps.
Okay. Have y'all set a date for your VBS?
No, actually, we haven't done one now in 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Of course, COVID, but we did not do one last summer. Our church is aging. We're only 32 years old, and we're not pulling in the young families like we'd like. We have several young families, and Sunday school is starting to get going a little bit better. So we're looking towards next year. We've talked to Grace Lutheran in Rock Hill in Tank. You're probably familiar with Grace.
Yeah.
Maybe doing something with them. So we'll see.
Okay.
But
okay.
I just thought I'd listen in and see if something might click for us.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here. I think we'll go ahead and get started. It's just 3 of us, but and Amanda is actually a plant. I asked her because she's from my former congregation, and so I wanted to. She's our decorator. We call her our decorator, and she does a tremendous job. But anyway, but I want to let's start with prayer.
Oh, okay.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather to discuss and launch VBS in our congregations, we come before you with open hearts. We seek your presence and guidance throughout this exciting journey of learning and faith. Bless our teachers and students that they may grow in wisdom and love for you. Let our VBS be a place of inspiration and transformation where young hearts are touched by your word. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay. Well, as I said, I am Deborah Poole, Debbie, and you and I share a name, it looks like.
I agree. There's not many of us, or you don't hear it often, do you?
No, ma'am. But it's funny that they hired somebody new that got hired at the Synod office, and her name is Deborah, and she spells it the same way I do, which is very strange, which is very unusual. So
Now, how is
anyway,
that?
I'm sorry.
You spell it the same way I do.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. How about that? How
Super.
about that? Okay. But anyway, Amanda knows, but I'll go ahead and let you know. I retired first of the year, and so then I started this very part-time position at the Synod. And so I coordinate the children and youth ministries for the Synod.
Oh, okay.
And so I am feeling my way around, hoping to make some adjustments, some changes in our youth ministry, Synod youth ministry program. But somebody suggested that VBS was a big thing, and so that we have this tonight, and so it is being recorded. Maybe somebody will jump on, watch the recording. And as I said earlier, it's our first one. We're planning something every other month, different topics. And so this is our first one, and maybe next time we'll have 6 people, and who knows, it'll just grow from there.
You have to start somewhere.
That's right. That's right. Well, I don't really have an agenda. I wanted this to be just a very casual conversation. And so I'm going to put Amanda on the spot, that she's out from the other congregation. And Amanda, if you would share a little bit about Pisgah. Amanda, I'm sorry, let's introduce ourselves, or you introduce yourself, Amanda.
Hey, I'm Amanda Watson, and so I go to I'm a member of Miss Deborah's old church, and I go to Pisgah Lutheran Church. So my husband and I I feel like we joined about 12, 13 years ago. So my husband grew up Lutheran. I grew up Methodist. He had family that went to this church, so we tried it, and we haven't left since then. So we have a daughter. Her name's Macy. She's 11, and so she's been a lifelong member so far. So she's active in the kids group, and then she's active in youth. So we're at church a lot.
Now, where is Pisgah, Amanda?
In Lexington.
Lexington, okay.
Now, I know your neck of the woods. I went to school at Winthrop, so I was up in the Rockville area.
I did too.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So did Miss Deborah.
Yeah, about 30 years apart, but
oh my goodness.
Maybe more than that.
Well, now I actually
did I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That's one reason why I don't like Zoom. You can't tell when somebody else is getting ready to talk.
Right.
I actually did my field placement in York at the time it was Children York Episcopal Church Home. I don't know what it's called now.
I really don't either. I think I know where it is, but I don't. I'm sure it's changed. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, out for you. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm Debbie Keener. I am not a lifelong Lutheran. I was raised Methodist, apparently like Amanda. I married a dyed-in-the-wool Lutheran guy from Hickory. And
oh boy.
yes, up Lenore Ryan.
Yes.
And he took a job with Springs 32 years ago. So that's how we wound up in Rock Hill. And of course, at the time, our children were little. They've grown up at Epiphany, and now they're grown. We have 6 grandchildren. And so here we are. We've downsized in a smaller house, and we've got room for us and all those grandchildren. So, but I've always been involved some way or another with the youth, and I'm a retired pediatric nurse, so I guess I just gravitate towards those kids. And so here I am, kind of default leader of our education team at Epiphany, and we're struggling, but we're starting to see a little light, and looking up a little bit. So Pastor, we had a MLT education meeting Monday night and mentioned this, and I said, well, you know what, I may just try to jump on. We can't do anything this summer. It would be too much. And I tell you, our volunteer corps has just dwindled, and between we've got some young parents. We think are trying to get involved. So we're trying to nurture that. So we'll put off any Bible school until maybe next summer. So I basically just want to listen and see if I can steal some ideas.
Sure. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you're here. You know, I attended a webinar the other day about collaboration and talking about because your church is not alone. Even, you know, even bigger churches, even larger churches are having a volunteer problem. They're losing people at Pisgah. Since COVID, we don't even have children's Sunday school anymore because
Well,
they just quit coming. They didn't come
well,
after COVID.
we went back to once a month, last fall, we just went out on a limb. And then January, we were able to go to first and third, but we're leaving it at that. We're not trying to push it too hard. So you make me feel a little bit better. I felt like
you were not alone, not at all. So, but one of the things that came out of this webinar about collaboration is that the churches are going to have to start collaborating on programs like your VBS. And you mentioned that maybe going in with Grace. You know, I don't know how far apart y'all are. I know where Grace is. That's where I went to church when I was at Winthrop. Because there was no Epiphany way back then.
It's probably not, I doubt it's 5 miles. We're just
okay.
We're certainly not downtown, but we are, we're near Northwestern High School, which would not have been here, I don't believe. So, but we're very close, 5 miles maybe.
Yeah, I think I've been to Epiphany, but it's been a long time. So anyway.
Well, come back.
All right.
Come see us sometime.
Oh, well, maybe we will. We're visiting around, so who knows where we might end up.
Seriously, yeah, come on around. Come on.
All right, Amanda, if you would share a little bit about Pisgah's VBS.
It's grown a lot. You know, you were talking about collaboration, and I remember something, and I'm gonna say that Miss Deborah has done in the past. So, you know, we have had, you know, we're fortunate enough that we have the funding, and you know, we have the kids that are able to come to VBS. But I would think the past 3, maybe 4 years, we've had some other smaller churches reach out to us and rent, essentially, you know, and borrow like our decorations, borrow, I don't know if they bought their own literature or not, but you know, I grew up, I loved VBS growing up. So Miss Deborah has heard the story that holds a pretty special place for me, because we just went around all summer and did VBS. It didn't matter how small the church, how big the church. And so I don't think that kids really care that it's the same theme. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think they just maybe some different crafts, but you can't hear the story enough, and people tell it different ways, right? Or different ways they tell it. So, I mean, maybe even if you collaborated with another church, or even if you all did maybe the same theme, or each time somebody bought the theme and you rotated it around and just borrowed each other's stuff, that would at least be a cost-effective way to not have all the expense on you, you know, like, and on your church. So we have done that before. We haven't charged anybody. I mean, it was just kind of, what are we, you know. So, and then some other things, I guess personally, some things so my husband loves VBS. Miss Deborah knows that. He loves this time of year, because my crazy ideas, he has to go and try to build it or do whatever. But one of the things we learned very early on is, if we were going to spend a lot of money on something big, we use that every year somehow. So, so we built, I don't know, big trees one year, and every year, you can ask Miss Deborah, those trees are somewhere in our decorations, wherever they are. Or, you know, just if we do big pieces like that, that involves wood, or we reuse the wood, you know, we always do that, so that cost doesn't come back every year. And then we can build and build and build, you know. So I don't know, that's just a couple of the things that we've done just to save some money. Now, of course, up front, you know, years ago, it cost us a good bit because we were getting going, you know, but I try somehow to use everything I have every year, or I keep things and I go dig out all the boxes and say, how can I put that up again, even if we pay $10 for it, you know, like how can I put it up again and save it? So, but sharing stuff, you know, we've had churches borrow, like not even had the same theme, but borrow something that we've used
Sure.
to make or decorate. That's right. Yes, ma'am. So we've done that a lot, and I think that's fun. I mean, even if it's, and we keep our literature. In fact, I was digging around the other day, and I think we've gone long enough that I think we can reuse some literature, and those kids,
Well,
they've already moved up to use, so they don't remember it.
As you say that, I'm thinking we've got a great, we call it the, well, we call it a craft closet, but it's got some old VBS programs and stuff. And I found that not long ago, and I thought, you know what, when we use this, the kids that we used to are like my kids. Well, my kids are in their 30s now.
Right.
I hadn't thought really about recycling.
Yeah, I mean, and as long as you maybe change up the crafts, but even my daughter, I could go back and use something she used at 4, and she's not going to remember that. I mean, she's not going to. I mean, she knows the decorations because she sees it every year, but it's just the theme, it's the stories, and so you definitely can. Every probably 5 years, 6 years, you could recycle. And we've also learned. I don't know how, if you've got anybody who's a little techie or whatever, but we've started buying. It's cheaper for us a lot of times to buy the virtual package instead of the like paper package, which is so we've started doing some virtual stuff, so that way you start saving $50, $75 that way. That way you kind of save on that as well. So I think, like Miss Deborah said, if you can get some churches that maybe some of your kids, even if they don't overlap, you can start sharing some of that cost. With decorating, with materials, with and then crafting. We have our church donate a lot of stuff for the crafts. Like we try to think of stuff like paper towel tubes or toilet paper tubes, or stuff that So, but we've kind of done stuff like that just to kind of cut down on costs as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now the virtual packages, are they available from the usual places where you would get the paper? Or the hard copy Bible, when you get the little kits.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. And usually it's a pretty significant difference in price. Like I think this year, not only did we do the virtual, but we also called it on sale. Like they sometimes, so we start pretty early, usually in January, early February, we're deciding. And sometimes if you catch some of that stuff, they'll discount it, the new stuff. And so we saved a pretty significant amount of money this year just on our literature. Because we decided very quickly, what we wanted to do. And I don't know, we've never really looked at, so past couple of years, we've had chosen like the new program. But it may be that even if you go a year or two back, you can even get more of a discount because it's a couple years old. So if you're just starting up, buying something a year or two ago, maybe even less because they're trying to, because it's not the new thing, Yeah.
And I don't know how long it's been, Debbie, since you bought a VBS kit, but they're over $200 now.
Well, I was just thinking I was involved. So I was usually a teacher or maybe help with the crafts. I wasn't, by the time I got in on it, they already had the theme set. They bought the kit. But I know the last year we did it, I was involved in ordering, and I think we paid about $250 then. And that's when you don't have much of a budget, that's a hit to your education budget. So, and I'm all for repurposing, I think is the proper word nowadays, but using it again, because like you say, the children present it another way or change up your craft. The kids, they don't care. They're just there to have a good time. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
Sometimes,
but I didn't know about virtual stuff. That's a good point. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes, if you do repurpose things, we found this out a couple. Pittsburgh has we have a child development center, and so several years ago we started doing Bible school for them as well. And one of the years we picked was a beach theme, which was great. But then when we were reading back over the actual lessons, we had to update not the theme or the Bible stories, but the lesson itself, because it was like 10 years old. And so sometimes you do have to update the pictures and stuff like that because of age. But yeah, for the most part, you can easily use and we do have a Facebook group. I don't know if you're on Facebook. And I'll have to find the I'm sorry. I'll have to find the exact number. But it's a VBS Exchange, South Carolina Synod VBS Exchange.
Okay.
Sorry. Blood Cross, American Red Cross want my blood. Always. They always want my blood.
Always, yes, always.
But anyway, I'll see if I can send you the link. But yes, a lot of times people will put stuff on that that we're using this year. Is anybody else using it? Can we borrow so and so?
Okay.
So that's
I personally don't Facebook anymore. I gave it up about 4 years ago, but I right now I know the person who could be my lookout.
There you go. There you go.
So I would want that. That's good. That would help. Yeah.
And one thing that we've always done is we did a rotation based classroom. We did not do by grade levels. Well, I mean, we did, but it wasn't, all the children weren't in one class. One teacher didn't do everything. We had, Amanda, help me out. We always started with an opening. Then we usually had music, snacks, games, lesson or story, and
crafts.
Yeah.
Crafts. Sometimes we had science if there was a science part, and so the children would actually be in class like 20 minutes, and then they would just rotate to the different areas. And we found that worked really well.
That's similar
to moving.
Now we have always done ours in the evening, and just thinking about the families that we have right now, more likely it would be an evening. Is that what you're used to doing, or did you have a morning?
So we were allowing our CDM to do it during the daytime. And then our church, family was at night. It was still in the evening. Now we do, we are, how Lutherans are, we like to feed people. So our men's group a lot of times will do like a quick little dinner just to get everybody. So that way families don't feel like they're rushing around, they have to eat, then they have to come to VBS. You can just drop those kiddos off, and Miss Deborah would hurdle them over in the corner, and so we did do that, which is an expense too, but that just kind of helped the families not feel so rushed.
I think I know all the years that, we used to have a grand VBS at Epiphany, all three of mine, and that was one of the draws. That we didn't have supper every night, but we always started out with a hot dog hamburger supper, either Sunday I think it was, and then maybe Tuesday we might do pizza, and then the last night we'd have an ice cream supper. But that's a draw that helps family. Those nights that I knew I didn't have to cook, that was always a good night. So I think that's good to do.
Well, and we used different groups in the church to do the meals. Like the choir would do one night, the men would do one night, and they usually absorb the expense themselves. And so that they would take that on. And so that Thursday night, which was our closing night, the Lutheran men always did a big cookout, and we always had bukus of people for that, and so that was an expense. But for the other nights, it usually the groups that were cooking took those costs on. So
well, and we've learned too that
you ask us questions and maybe we can think of.
Oh well, y'all, this is a lot of good information. You said your child development. We don't have that, but next door to us, we have, it used to be a, I can't remember, I can't remember. It was counseling practice. And they just folded. They'd been in business for years. And in fact, we had a good relationship with them and whatnot. They folded during COVID. So in the last, I guess, about 3 years ago, family bought the area and it's become a child care center, and they've got about 75 kids. So we have kind of partnered with them We had a trunk or treat. We started that a couple of years ago. Well, some of their last year, some of that they were having something. It was quite coincidental. And so we just said, well, come on over when you finish here and trick or treat here. And so this year we made sure we included them and let them know when we would have our trunk or treat. And so this year we partnered with our egg hunt. So now we've talked about, we do godly play Sunday school, and which is dear to my heart. So now we're talking about maybe them just walking across our parking lot they don't have a chapel. For instance, they don't have a chapel program. They do some type of daily devotion. So we're kind of talking about them coming over every other week or something, hear a story. So we're working on that. So I'm thinking, well, you know what? We got all those kids right next door. Maybe we can do something with them also with the Bible school.
I was going to say, right before you said that, I was going to say your best word of mouth is a kid. So when we first started back after COVID, we of course advertised it to our preschool kids. And I remember this was before we started combining it. And the first night, maybe like 5 extra additional kids came that didn't go to church there, but went to preschool. Well, they all went back to preschool on Monday and said, you got to come to this. And all of a sudden we got hit with like 15 extra kids that night. And so I was like, Miss Deborah, I think we need to come by. I think y'all need to do that during the day and then ours at night. But that is your best word of mouth there is, and that's one of the things we do with our preschool is the parents can sign a waiver for us to check them out during the day at the end of the day. And so we just walk them straight to dinner, they eat, and then they go straight to Bible school. So that parent doesn't have to run back and forth. And so you can do something where you do a waiver, sign them out, and you can walk over there and get them, walk them over to Bible school. And then that way, at least you've got some, even if you get 4 or 5 of them, that would be, that's fun.
Yeah. Well, okay. So that's a great idea. And literally that's what they would do. They just walk across parking lot, but certainly a waiver would need to be in place.
Like a sign out or that you give permission, all that. But that's what we've done. That's what we didn't separate it, but that they do theirs now during the day and then we do ours at night, but we share some of that cost of decorating and materials, and they do their own crafts. We do our own, but I feel like it gets used more, like more people see it, more people are exposed. And so that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking for all these kiddos to be exposed.
What time do you have your VB? It seems like we used to do ours maybe 5:30 to 7:30 or 8, and the first 30-45 minutes was supper, and then we started. So what time?
That's about, I think we started our supper at 5:45. Is that right, Miss Deborah? And then we started at 6:30.
I was gonna say, I think supper started at 5:30.
Yeah. And then we started at 6:30 and then it ended at like 8. Is that right?
Because by that point, 8 o'clock, that's a late day.
Yeah. And listen, you get some of those kiddos to love some of those people at your church, and that's then how you start. Hey, why don't you come to church? Do you have a home church? I mean, we used to do that a lot with our preschool. And so, because heaven forbid, you don't want to be a mom and has to tell your kid, no, we're going to go do this. You want to go do what they want to do. So, that maybe also, if you got your pastor involved, he's kind of, he or she's over there kind of pushing, or talking to people. Parents want to see their kids having a good time. So how easy would it be to go to those 2 places? And you've got both.
Exactly. Excellent. I hadn't even given that a thought, and that's a real good idea. Super.
But Debbie, I'm assuming they have a year-round program for this.
They do. Oh yeah.
You could even do a VBS this summer, later in July, before school, or winter. I don't know when y'all school starts back, but I mean, if you have enough, but you could do it in the morning if you have enough.
Right.
If you have enough help. And again, you would need parents' permission because, but I'm gonna tell you, a lot of our preschool kids go to other churches. But there are some who they think this is their church. They think that Pisgah is their church because they go to VBS and they go to chapel at preschool, and so
that's where they're loved. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And for some of them, that's the only Jesus they get.
Yeah. Right.
And so
Exactly.
you're planting a seed.
Yeah. That's my motto, is planting a seed. I tell my teachers all the time, I said, I've been doing this for a long, long time. And like right now we have a young family that we taught both of them, and now they're bringing their little 6-month-old son. And I said, and they're there at church, and they're looking forward to Sunday school. And I said, every now and then you see a seed, or one of these older, they're adults now, that I taught when they were young. They'll say something like, Miss Keener, you remember when so and so whatever, and so it makes it worth it. Makes it worth the fight going out the door with your own kids on Sunday morning. Oh me. So anyway. Well, I'm encouraged. That's a good idea.
Well, if you do decide to do something this year or next year, my I guess what I had to think about when Miss Deborah allowed me to take over decorating a couple years ago. And I think this pulls in your parents too. Like, the first thing I always thought about is, where should all my decorations go? Like, where is my focus? Am I going to have more people in the sanctuary? Am I going to have more people in a certain room? Like, who's going to see it? Because you don't want your money to sit in a room where people go just 10 minutes, right? And so Miss Deborah can tell you, I don't necessarily do a lot in our sanctuary, because we have a very, very large hallway entrance, and everybody sees it. Our kids, our parents, our church members. And so that's where my focus is every year, is on that main hallway, and then our story room. And so I don't always put so much attention in the sanctuary, because they're in there about 10 minutes and then they're gone. I mean, there's stuff in there, but so kind of think about, if you had to start decorating this year, where is everybody going to see it? Because that's what draws in a kid, right? I tell Miss Deborah this every year. I have one goal every year. I don't care if there's not one adult who cares that my stuff looks good. I really don't care. I just need one kid to walk in and say, wow, that's cool. And I'm good with that. So so put your stuff, wherever you're going to spend your money, put your stuff where it's going to be seen, it's going to be a part. And so that main hallway we have is where every kid moves from. So they go to music, to crafts, they walk through that stuff. They go to crafts, to story, they walk through that stuff. They go to snack, everywhere they go, they're in that hallway, and they can see all those decorations. So and then I always do, I know our little boys at our church like to touch stuff. And so so I give them one decoration they can play with. And so that they don't tear up, that they're not going to mess with. But you're amazed at what a wood bridge can do for a kid. Oh, actually for adults too. Or if you have, or if, like last year, I had pool noodles hanging down from the ceiling that they could just bust through, and it didn't tear anything up. It didn't hurt anything, but it's just something that they can do, that they don't feel like they can't touch your stuff. Obviously they know Miss Amanda's stuff, we don't want it to fall off the wall, but if they can touch something,
I agree.
Then they touch that. Like, so this year, Miss Deborah's probably going to laugh when she hears this, but one of our theme this year is campfire light. So that's the new one this year. So it's like going to camp. So I racked my 11-year-old's brain, who goes to Lutheridge now. I'm like, what are the things you do at camp? Tell me the things you saw. Tell me the things you did. Like, and so he can tell Miss Deborah, that's how I decorate my rooms. I'll walk you through the things that I see in my brain. That's wherever we're doing. And so this year, my husband rolled his eyes at me, but I was like, when you go to camp, you do a low ropes course, or you do some sort of ropes course. And so we're going to have a little junior ninja ropes course, and so that way those boys can go and jump on that stuff and like think that that's the best thing ever. So so that's one of our things.
Wait to see pictures. Okay, wait to see pictures.
Right. And then last year we had a superhero theme, and I don't know where my brain got this, but I found something online where you come up with your superhero name. So I had the big board that you looked up the first letter of your name, your birth month, and then you found your superhero name. Well, what I didn't expect on Sunday morning was to walk in and see 10 adults standing there trying to figure out their superhero name.
Oh my gosh.
I was going to say, along with that, Amanda is, and Debbie, is that Amanda always had things up the Sunday before VBS started.
That's a
Because
good idea.
we went from Sunday to Thursday. And so she would have it up that Sunday morning. And like you said, the adults were having and it gets the kids excited.
Yeah.
And the adults are enjoying it.
I can remember when there's been so many years, we'd have so much done, but then from like 12:15 after church until 6 o'clock when it started or whenever, you were just rushing trying to get all the stuff up.
I don't have enough time to do it in 6 hours. I'm there for days.
I know.
Days ahead of time.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. Decorate.
And Pastor Stephen, to be honest, likes for me to keep it up 2 Sundays. Like he's he likes to video it and be in all his videos. So a lot of times he makes me keep it up 2 Sundays. But again, that's where everybody walks in the morning for church. That's where all the kids. So, I don't put as much thought and money into the sanctuary just because not all of our stuff is in there. Like that's just not where the kids stay. I want them to jump on that ninja thing this time every time they go to crafts or every time they go, and so that's what I feel like not that they come back for, but I don't want them to think they can't touch it. But at the same time, like it's just something they can do. I mean, it's interactive.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay. Big help. Thank you so much. Oh. When Deborah, now do you or would y'all mind sharing your emails with me? Would that be
sure?
Okay. So Amanda. All right. Deborah, what's yours?
I am Deborah at scsynod.com.
Deborah at scsynod.com. Okay. And DEBORAH.
Yes.
Okay. And then Amanda?
It's Amanda AKB at yahoo.com. I don't have a fancy Synod email like Miss Deborah does.
Okay, Amanda.
Well, I still got my Pisgah Lutheran one too, by the way.
I know. Well, I probably have checked I've got a bizarre email.
Now, Amanda, was yours Amanda A as in apple, K as in kite, B as in boy?
Yes, ma'am.
That's it. Okay. All right.
Yes,
got it. Super. Okay. All right. So you both go to Pisgah?
I did. I worked there.
Oh, okay.
I was there for 18 years as the coordinator for family ministries before I retired.
Then she left us.
Yeah.
Happy and sad all at the same time. Oh.
Yeah.
I know someone, if not several someones I've heard of Pisgah. I told my husband years ago, we were in North Carolina and of course knew a lot of Lutherans. And then we moved to Rock Hill and the Lutherans down here knew all the North Carolina Lutherans. So I just decided all you Lutherans must know one another. Oh, me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Did you have any other questions? And if you do, you can email either one of us if you want to ask any other questions. I'm sure Amanda won't mind.
I can't. This has been a big help. I am glad to hear about the collaboration process. I felt like we were kind of the only ones that were thinking or doing a little bit of this. So good to know that that's probably something other people are doing. Certainly all of Amanda's points have been well taken. I've taken a lot of notes here, so I can't think of anything, but I am glad to have your contacts. That will help. And anyway, so thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for the.
I'm going to throw in one more thing, Debbie. I'm sorry. Even if you're starting to get going one year, we even did just kind of an all day VBS. So if you don't necessarily have like a lot of volunteers or, you're just trying to get it back going, you could just do
a one day,
like a Sunday afternoon, and it's 3 or 4 hours, and you kind of get them in, you get them done. Just that way, you have volunteers or people that can commit to one day instead of maybe 4 or 5 days. Now it's rough because Miss Deborah put me in a lane in the 18-month-old room. And so that was a long day.
Yes, that would be a long day.
Right. But but you could still move around. You could still do a normal, but maybe you just did a couple lessons or 2 main lessons, just so you got more commitment from people to do one day versus a whole week, because that is a big commitment.
And I'll tell you, volunteers, that is, and the young we've got some good young families, and there's a couple that are kind of sort of interested, but they are so busy. And I don't mean to be ugly. I know it sounds that way, but things are just as busy when I worked. I had 3 kids. We got it done. So it can be done. But that's beside the point. So
well, sometimes our volunteers are like, it's not the parents, because they kind of, we don't put the parents with their kids, or we don't I never want to be with my kid because she's going to do better without me,
my kids never wanted to be in my class, and I understand that. No, a lot of our volunteers are my age. So anyway.
Well, if you do the rotations though, you don't burn out as easy. Like I would think if you had one class and you had that whole class for 2 hours, 5 days a week, like Miss Deborah, I'd have been out, but like when you're walking around a group and like we've done story, it's 20-minute story increments, but you had the 1st and 2nd graders, then you had the 3rd and 4th graders, then you had the kindergarten, then, so I feel like the way Miss Deborah's always done it, we don't burn people out necessarily. And then they can kind of choose their poison, we've had people that have always helped, but maybe this year they're snacks, next time they're story. So it kind of keeps it where you're not stuck. I hate to use that word. You're not kind of stuck all week doing that. Yeah. And so, anyway, maybe think about a day or just 2 days, something that people can commit to.
Well, I do.
And be there.
That might be a good way to kind of reintroduce the fun of it, because it is fun.
Girl, put some slip and slides outside. Say, hey, for the last hour, we got some water stuff. Yeah. Listen, you got to you get the kiddos in, and then the next year it's 2 days, the next year it's 3 days, then you kind of build it back up a little bit.
Yeah. That might be a good way to start. Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate
it. I'm sorry. I was just going to add to that real quickly. You can buy Bible school curriculum that is a 1-day program, but if you're going to do like a Sunday after, you can do your own.
I was going to say, yeah.
Pick a Bible story and and build everything around it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Listen, I know you don't do Facebook, but if you do Pinterest, just look at Pinterest for VBS themes, and you can go, just pick a theme, match it with a Bible story, and you are, you're good to go. You don't need the material at that point. Yeah. You can, and then you can look on Pinterest for your craft. Listen, I live on Pinterest, YouTube, to look up stuff to decorate, like how to do something. But you, like Miss Deborah said, you can even do that and just, pick a fun kind of thing that's right now, that the kids will enjoy, and you'll be fine.
Good. I think we will be too. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
We may have been just a 3, but you have helped me a great deal.
Well, very good. That's what matters. All right. Well, thank you, Amanda.
Good to meet you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nice to meet y'all. Bye.